Hey everybody. So I found another one. This is this Isaiah guy. I think that's his name, Isaiah. And he's like really into like demon stuff. Thinks he's a demon slayer sort of thing. And just really weird. Some of the stuff he believes is just really out there. So this is kind of a meta reaction, I guess, because I'm going to be reacting to this guy reacting to Dr. Phil. So it's, Inception, like 3 levels of Inception reaction. That's what we're doing, and I think it should be kind of interesting. Let's see what he says about this. Um, I think it's going to be interesting because as much as I dislike and disagree with Dr. Phil, I still think it's going to be. I think he's going to have a better opinion about demons than this guy who's reacting to it. So let's check this out.
What does Dr. Phil think about demons? Have you ever wondered that? I have. So we're going to talk about that today. The episode was called Young, Possessed, and in Love, and the title is You Guys Are Now in a Trap. Dr. Phil tells couple who believe they're possessed by demons. So he had Dr. Bob Larson, who's an exorcist, on his show, which Dr. Bob Larson actually talked to me personally about this episode, said he was not treated well because he was actually on the Dr. Phil show in the past. But let's react to this. Let's watch this. What does Dr. Phil think about demons? Probably what you already think he thinks. Let's watch this.
Victoria's father says she was a happy child until one day he came home from work and found a very different little girl.
3 weeks ago, I discovered that my daughter was raped. I was upset when I found out about it, and even more upset when I found out it was 13 years ago. Why didn't she say anything? I don't know if all these problems we are having all stems from the rape. Maybe I didn't say the right things to her and she's taking it out on me. Thomas is a good guy. I wish he could get a steady job and get out of the house more. I think things would be a little easier that way. Victoria tells me that she sees demons. They're not drug addicts. They're not alcoholics. If she believes she sees these things, I cannot call her a liar.
What? Why not?
She says she's seeing demons.
If they're seeing things that don't exist, that they're not necessarily a liar. They're just seeing things that they believe exist that don't. It's not. You don't have to call them a liar just for not being convinced that their conclusions that they drew based on their experiences are incorrect, right? Which is very possible. I mean, I've believed, like, for example, let me tell you this story real quick. I used to go, I got in a car accident when I was 17. And so I hurt my back. I've had like a dull ache kind of thing in my back for years and years and years. I lived down here in Florida, so I took a bunch of pain medication for it. And of course, it was during the time when, the Purdue Pharma thing and all that is happening. So all the doctors got shut down. Now, I was actually going for legit pain and everything, but the doctor got shut down. So I had nowhere to go and I was getting really sick. So I went to to a methadone clinic. And I remember when at the time I was like going back and forth. I was like rededicated my life to Jesus and everything. And all the people were like, you got to get away from that methadone clinic. That's like demons and all this stuff. And, when people put that kind of thought in your head, you start to take it very seriously. And I remember the one time I was at the methadone clinic when I was still a Christian. I was like trying to get better and everything and get back to Jesus and all that stuff. And I remember looking up at the sky, and seeing very clearly and vividly demons fluttering around and everything, and just being like, whoa, that's crazy. They were right. This clinic is full of demons and everything. Years later, I went back. I was dropping off a friend of mine, and I had deconverted by this time, right? I wasn't convinced that, Christianity was true or anything like that, or a God even exists anymore after that, and I went back to the clinic. I dropped the guy off. I was sitting out there. You wait for him. He has to wait in line and go in and, get the little cup of juice, and then he comes back out. Right. And when I was sitting out there, I was looked over, and it was super early in the morning. It was like, I don't know. I used to go when it was still dark. Right. But this time it was like starting to get light out. Right. And I looked over, and there was like kind of this forest area sort of behind the behind the clinic, and it was like it kind of parks up against this forest area, right? And sure enough, right then there were bats. There must have been some kind of cave or something back there, and there were bats, just huge, like a big, huge, just like collection of them, just all flying and fluttering all around each other and everything. And I was like, oh, there's the demons. There's my demons right there. I figured it. I found them. Look, there they are, you know. But in my head, because I had already preconditioned myself to believe that they're not only that demons existed, but that they're flying around that place because of, you know, methadone clinic, a lot of addiction. Oh, demons love addiction, so on and so forth, right? And so it completely confirmed my belief, and then I just kind of ran with it. And then come to find out, nope, it was a dumb belief to have. I was just convinced of something that wasn't true for reasons that weren't good. But anyway, that was just my story of like, yeah, you can be convinced that something is true, uh, but like you can be mistaken, and people don't need to necessarily call you a liar. You know, they can just say, I'm not convinced that your conclusions that you're drawing based on your experience are correct. You know, it's easy to, you can just always do that. That shouldn't be taken with any offense.
Demons. He's saying these people are not drug addicts. They're not alcoholics. He doesn't seem like he's buying it, but he says, I can't call her a liar.
Well, Mark is joining us now. Thank you for being here.
Just repeated him.
Do you perceive your daughter to be demon possessed?
No.
Why do you question whether or not she's demon possessed? Why do you think that?
I just don't believe that. I don't see it. I don't hear her, you know, screaming.
This is the common misconception. By the way, I'm going to pause it because if not, we'll get hit with copyright. And I'm going to commentate here.
So okay. So now he's going to break it down like what the real deal is. Because, you know, the movies confuse everybody about the truth of demons. So he's going to give us the scientific approach to demons now.
This is the common misconception about people that have demons. People think if you have a demon, it's going to be obvious. But understand that every army uses camouflage for a reason. There's power in being undetected. There's power in being hidden. So the devil's goal is to camouflage himself so you don't know he's there. Because if you know the demon's there, then you're going to seek deliverance. You're going to seek freedom. So, of course.
Oh, my God. It's like, wow. It's the same way with like, well, oh, yeah, of course you can't detect God, because he doesn't want to be detected. That's why. Like, oh, how fucking convenient, man. That's great.
This person is often a normal person. The people that we're casting demons out of, these are normal school teachers, police officers, businessmen. I just did deliverance on a guy this last week who's a police officer. These are not, crazy, growling, talking to themselves, walking in front of Walmart type of people. These are everyday, normal, average people. These demons aren't going to start
that have nothing wrong with them at all. Like, they're just everyday normal people that you're just telling them they have demons, and then you're telling them that you've delivered them, and they're like, okay, cool, all right. It's kind of weird because it feels like nothing happened. Like nothing was happening, and then nothing happened when you got rid of it, and now nothing's still. But he's telling me that I got all the demons. I don't know.
Screaming out of you often. Those might be like extreme cases of demonization. But the average person that has a demon will not exhibit signs other than maybe they hear a voice. Maybe they have an overwhelming desire to do something.
Dude, there's mental health issues that cause you to hear voices. That's not necessarily. See, this is where this shit gets that pisses me off. And I bet you Dr. Phil's going to be pissed off about this sort of thing too, because believing that it's demons is actually harmful, because now you're getting in the way of doing the treatment that can actually help them, because you've now got them convinced that their fucking delusion is actually real.
Maybe some things pulling them towards, they have these overwhelming dominating thoughts, recurring nightmares. These could be signs of demonization. But the idea that someone's going to be growling and screaming and, in the back room, like it's the Exorcist movie. That's not the way demonization works. That's not the way deliverance works. At least in my.
That's just movies. Okay. Come on. You can't even really tell demons are there. That's in the real world. Okay. And then when you deliver for them, they don't come out in any way, shape, or form. They're completely undetectable ever, and nobody even acts funny of it, Jesus Christ.
I experienced, and I've seen thousands of people be delivered, and I cast demons out of someone yesterday. I actively practice deliverance. So his reasoning is, and it makes sense because
How do you imagine like talking to people like this? Like, what did you do yesterday? Passed out a couple demons. You know, it was a Tuesday, so that's what we do. You know,
maybe he just doesn't know. But his reasoning is, I don't think she has a demon. Which, by the way, in another episode of this, her boyfriend already got delivered. So that's kind of where they left off.
Oh, so
Thinking
we're
that.
starting in the
I
middle.
just don't believe it.
Correct.
I can't.
My thinking is this: you guys are now in a trap
Uh-oh.
because you see yourself as being cleansed and her not.
So he's been delivered. This is only a 4-minute clip of the episode. She hasn't been, and he's wanting her to get delivered, something like that.
And so you're afraid of her being demon possessed. And if she doesn't buy in to the concept and get cleansed, then here you are with some demon possessed woman. You know, there's 200.
That's not the right thinking to have. Guys, if you're listening to this, you should not be looking at your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend or family member and being like, you need to get delivered or we can't be together. You can't be. This is not the proper way. People need to
Okay, at
want
least I agree with them on that one. Because that'd be so funny. All right, the reason things just ain't working out with us is because, you know, she's got a demon, you know. And it was like, oh man, the demon. Yeah, that's so I feel, you know, women. Am I right?
to be delivered for themselves. People need to seek deliverance on their own. This is not something where we force people into it. We make them go through deliverance. This is not the right way to go about it if you're trying to force someone. So if that is his thinking, that's wrong thinking because the devil recognizes free will. You have to want to be free. You have to want to be delivered. This is not something you want to force.
The devil.
So
Okay. Well, see, I didn't realize that about the free will of the, you know, with the devil, like where he respects, you know, free will. If you don't want to do something, he's like, all right, hey, I don't make anybody do what they don't want to do. You know, which is, isn't that completely in contrast to like what we understand about the devil and demons? Don't they like, can't they like force you to do stuff or like get it? Like if they get it, then what's the point of any of this? So it almost makes it like they're completely powerless. Like they just do nothing. You're just saying that they're in there. And I think it almost seems like a, you know, almost like one of those homeopathic type things. Like people just want to believe that there's that is the problem so that they don't recognize the actual problem, because if they address the actual problem, then they're going to have to pay, you know, fucking $1,500 in deductible before they can ever have anything covered by insurance, even with good insurance, because mental health coverage is terrible. And so let's just go the demon route. You know, let's just pretend that it's demons. And then that way we don't have to, you know, get this actual health care that we need. You know, it's very much like the homeopathic or naturopath type of doctor shit, you know, or health shit.
Trying to force your friend or family to get delivered, not the right way to go about it. So this is what Dr. Phil's answer is.
97.
Look, I don't like to talk too much about people's appearances. Okay. But holy shit, what's going on with this guy's head, man? Is that's a big head, right? This could be a whole nother head at this point, right? That's that's big, right? Like I feel like his eyes should be here. You know what I mean? Like what is happening? Just kidding. But you know, that was just funny.
And diagnoses in this diagnostic and statistical man.
So he says there's 297, and that says Diagnostic of Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders,
DSM-5,
5th edition, DSM-5. I have no clue. This is apparently 300 different mental illnesses
You don't know what,
that he's.
you don't know what the DSM-5 is? That's like all the mental health conditions and everything. That's like, it's basically like how to diagnose and like and everything, like, or just like what they are and like what the symptoms are and stuff like that. It's just a list of like just every different mental health disorder that we've come up with up until this point. And you know, they've been updated several times, like, you know, and if you go back to like the one from like, I think it was like the 60s or 70s, it was like gay people were in there, like being gay, being attracted to the same sex. That was like a mental health issue back then because they didn't understand what was happening, you know, how it worked. But
saying this is something you should go through. This is something you should do instead. Okay, I had to pause the video. I just had to go someone at the door. I had some Mormons at the door witness to me, and then I ended up witnessing to them, telling them my testimony. So that was interesting. Okay, let's keep going here. So Dr. Phil, where did I leave off? Dr. Phil is.
Oh, you don't get to have as much fun as we do with the people witnessing.
basically going to show this 300
No,
mental disorders.
No, I tell you about Jesus. No, I tell you about Jesus. Oh yeah, yeah. You know?
And this is what the world, of course, is going to do. If you say you have a demon, it can't be a demon. It has to be a mental disorder. And oftentimes demons get labeled as mental disorders. So for example, not every mental disease or illness is a demon. Of course, that's not the case. But
I know this is like way off topic, but I wish there was like a Family Guy version of modern day debate. You know how they would always like put something on TV on Family Guy, and it's like modern day debate comes up, like they're watching YouTube on their television, and it's just like two people like sitting there going, "Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah." That would be so.
I think
awesome.
more often than not, mental disorders are demonic in nature. Like if you go to the doctor and say, and I know people who have done this because they've gone through this, I have seeing things, I'm hearing voices, they're going to say you're mentally ill, you have schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is characterized as hearing voices and seeing images or dark figures or mirages, whatever they want to call it.
And just
So the
being
doctor's not
completely
going to
incapacitated at times. There was I did a little stint at a hospital one time, and I remember there was this woman there that I had to bring in because I was kind of the head of the room or whatever. And I was like, okay, showing her like, hey, here's like where you can get all the milk and stuff like that. Here's the fridge, you know, if you want to make some coffee, they got the coffee stuff. I was taking her through all that. She could not respond. She looked totally normal and everything, but she just was like, and then I just be like, are you, what? And she'd just be like, and it was like she couldn't respond. She was completely like catatonic. Like it's not just that stuff. It gets to a certain a certain level where they can barely communicate because what they're seeing and everything is so like not like they're not seeing anything that's actually real, and they can't like pick the right voices in their head to even speak and stuff. It can get really debilitating.
say you have a demon, they're going to say you have schizophrenia.
That was
So
my
they're
point. It's not demons though, man. It's it's definitely mental illness.
going to prescribe you some medication.
Yes.
Is the medication going to get the demon to leave? Of course not. So doctors do what they do.
That's how
and
dangerous this is.
Ministers do what they do. And we don't deal with the natural sense or medication or the physiological. We deal with the
or anything that's real. Yeah, we deal with the magical pretendness. Yep, that's the
spiritual side of it. So the answer is not most of the time go through 300 mental disorders and figure out what you have. I mean, how exhausting is that? The answer is if it is a sickness,
it's so fucking like you're damn. He just doesn't get how dangerous this is. That you're sitting there telling people like, oh yeah, and it does suck. I mean, that is true. That you like, especially with like depression and stuff. Like, it does suck. Like, you have to go through different medications, and a lot of times it's like very difficult to find the one that is good, that helps, that works. It doesn't have a ton of side effects, so on and so forth. And so him just saying like up here, like, you don't want to have to do all that, you know, but yes, you need to do all that because it's so much better than feeling so much like shit that you can't get out of bed every day. Okay. Like you need to go through it. It sucks and it's expensive. But goddamn, it's so important. You know, I'm spending tons of money on my mental health right now, but holy shit, it's like I got a whole new brain. You know, it's a whole new world. Like I was able to put down all the substance use and all these things like that. So like, yeah, make sure to get your mental health checked if it's something that is affecting you, or if you think that it might be, go ahead and get checked because it's really worth it. I promise.
It's a chemical imbalance in your brain, which oftentimes is not even documented or verified or confirmed.
It is
just,
this is where it gets, I'm sorry, I keep pausing, but I'm getting frustrated here. Because no, it is documented, like you can document it. It is documented. And it is, yeah, it's not like you can put your fucking brain under a microscope and show like where the depression lives, you know, here's the depression right here. You know, no, that's not how it works. I mean, it's possible that we could do that, but that'd be unethical as all fuck, you know, like cut open everybody's brain that, you know, in order, no, that's not going to work. So, yeah, you diagnose it through a series of symptoms. That is, I mean, just like any kind of condition that you go to a doctor, some like physical stuff tends to present itself in ways that can be, you know, you could do like blood tests and stuff like that, but there are some diseases and stuff that you get that goes completely by you just explaining what the symptoms are. You can't test for it, right? There's tons of things like that. But mental health is 100% like that, you know. And the thing is too, a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, when you don't get better, they just give you a medication for you to take." Yeah, because again, it's not like it's an infection, right? It's not a brain infection. Like, oh, it got better, it went away because you took this pill. That's not how it works. You have to keep getting treated for that condition, and because it's a mental health, it's about your thoughts and your behaviors. It's not about like how your body's biological function. You know, it's all about how you think and how you behave. So you have to get these a continual treatment, and it's always best when you get a multi-pronged treatment. So it's you take your medication, you go to a psychiatrist and have them evaluate you, and you also get therapy as often as they recommend. But yeah, because you got to do all this stuff because your brain is so important.
We're going to diagnose you this, then God can heal you. And if it's a demon there, then God can deliver you. God can do that. And God can also use
Okay,
medicine.
so
but I think
we can. Okay, all right.
saying,
Well, thank goodness, man. Thanks for saying that it can sometimes be taken care of by medicine after you have now validated someone's fucking delusions that are causing their mental health breakdowns in the first fucking place.
I have manic depression, or I have schizophrenia, or I have this. Doctors are quick to diagnose when in reality it could be a demonic spirit. Demons are not rare like often people think they
literally
are.
Manual of the American Psychiatric Association.
It's it boils down to like how you come to that conclusion, right? And I mean, sure, you could say to me, well, how do you know? You don't know that demons don't exist. You can't prove that. And you're right. I can't prove that, right? But I can demonstrate that there's 1.5 million things that are way more likely to be the case, given that I can demonstrate that they fucking exist, right? And we have to figure out a way to rule that shit out first before we land on the highly unlikely case that it's fucking demons, okay?
That I would work through before I went to some paranormal higher order.
There's Dr. Bob Larson who does deliverance.
Doing exactly
so
what I was just saying.
Before you go to some exorcist, you should work through all of these. And that's what we think he'd say, right? He's I don't know if he's a medical doctor, psychologist, therapist. I don't know what he is his degree in. But of course, this is what the world looks at, demonization, which is extremely
demonization. Oh, he just keeps on saying that word like it's a scientific term of some sort. It's so funny. Demonization. I mean, everybody knows. Like, I actually, that's what the D in DMS5 stands for. Demonization and some stuff. But yeah, I think he's got a doctorate in psychology, right? Like he's a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I don't know. I think he might be a clinical psychologist. I think he's just got a doctorate in psychology. I don't think he has. I don't think he's a psychiatrist, a medical doctor. That's the difference between those two. If you're
common, they look at it as mental illness, and mental illness is at an all-time high right now. Like it's peaking out right now, and which is why we need deliverance massively in the church. Again, not every mental disorder or illness is a demon.
Well, you keep on making it sound like it is. Like you keep on saying that's why we need deliverance right now. You're basically saying that it's more likely that it's demons than it is for it just to be a mental health issue. And so I appreciate at least that he's trying to be fair and balanced about it, but it's still a problem when you're even acting like it's a likely scenario where demons can actually be the cause of this shit.
But oftentimes it is
religion. That's the problem with religion.
Level of explanation, because this is something that
I like how he's just holding the thing like, this is the books. I got the book right here. This is the one. Yep. This is that. This is the mental health book.
You can do something about. And
what can you do about it?
Medication.
What do you mean you can do something about it? What are you going to do?
Medication, therapy, treatment. Like they got all sorts of different treatment. You could do ECT. You could do all sorts of shit, man. They got cognitive behavioral therapy. They got so many different types of treatments that are all like well researched and tons of different medications that do work. God, what do you mean? What are you going to do? See, this is what I'm saying. How can you just say a second ago that it could easily be treated with medication and then now start acting like, wait a second, what do you do? What the fuck are you doing? Make up your goddamn mind, man.
Now you find out you have a disease, you have schizophrenia, so now you just medicate yourself. I had someone on my show last week who is medicated on every pill, schizophrenic, this, that, depression, this, and turned her into a zombie. So what do you mean if you find out what you have?
You know what? Like a zombie. Yeah, they have side effects. There is a trade-off, right? But you know what's worse than fucking some of the side effects, or being kind of sleepy and sort of shuffling your feet around sometimes? Being a catatonic schizophrenic. It's a little bit worse. Let's see, we got Spooky said, that priest fellow who was just on the screen is a famous exorcist. Can't remember his name. Yeah, he just said it. Shit. Dr. Bernard, something. I don't know. I can't remember. He just said it a minute ago, but yeah, you're absolutely right. He's some fucking exorcist guy.
You can do something about it. A lot of people that are on these antidepressants, which they're finding out now, antidepressants don't even change your serotonin levels, end up oftentimes worse.
You're misunderstanding that. Like it's not about the, oh, it doesn't even affect your serotonin levels. Yeah, but it helps in other ways. There's other neuro I can't go through how complicated it is, and I don't know all the words, but it functions in a different way. That's all I'm saying. And he's right, they did find that out recently, but that does not change the fact that all of that data demonstrated that those pills still did help those conditions overwhelmingly, right? It just did it in a way that they didn't realize. That's all. So it's funny when he sits there and says, oh, they found this out. Yeah, I wonder how they found that out. Because what did God tell them? Did their religion tell them that they found it? Oh, or science. It was science. Okay. Oh, more and better science. Got it.
Worse than they are before. So
No.
it's been known that a lot of these medications don't work.
No.
I looked
How
through
could you possibly be worse than a catatonic fucking schizophrenic? Are you kidding me? What's worse than that? So being sleepy and shuffling your feet with the Thorazine shuffle thing is worse than like not being able to see what's fucking real and possibly walking into oncoming traffic because you think it's a fucking elevator. Come on, man.
here. I can't diagnose you sitting here because I would have to go through a whole lot of diagnostic process to do it. But I can tell you on the short list of considerations would be post-traumatic stress disorder from what you've been through, chronic depression.
Okay, so she went through an RAPE and started a lot of the stuff started from that. He's saying that you have PTSD. I would say that was probably.
Are you not allowed to say that or something? On the, because he just said it a minute ago. He used that word. So I don't know why he's like, maybe you can't say it so many times or something. I don't know, but yeah, that was a very that is unbelievably traumatic. That thing he just spelled out
with the open door, and this is something we encounter over and over again. People saying it started here when I went through this specific trauma. And most people that are dealing with this had a trauma in their childhood where that spirit was able to gain access. And again, I had someone on the channel last week who had that testimony, just a radical testimony of how God delivered her.
Look, let's see how convenient that is. It just, oh yeah, that's the moment in which the demon got in her. It just happened to be also a very traumatic event that caused the demon to get in. Like, why would the demon get in then? Like, I thought the demons only got in you and stuff like when you're messing with Ouija boards and shit. Like, that's what I always heard. Is that if you're, or just I don't know, blaspheming God or something. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was not just because something bad happens to you. What the hell? What is wrong with your God? If not only can he not stop bad things from happening to people, like horribly traumatic things, he can't stop that. But now he can't even stop the fucking demons from getting in them because of the bad things happening to him. Holy shit. You just added like a whole nother layer to the problem of evil.
But yeah, this is how the world looks at it.
And anxiety, certainly potential of personality damage and disorders from what has happened to you that has never been tended to.
Why can't this be a possibility of a demonic attack?
Look, I don't.
So she's asking Dr. Phil, why can't it be a demon?
So
why does it have to be one of the 300?
Hold on. I thought that I thought they were just saying a minute ago that she didn't think it was that, but the boyfriend was trying to convince her that it was. And now she's saying that she does think that it is that. It just seems so weird. Why the bait and switch? Just,
mental illnesses described in this encyclopedia that I have to exhaustively go through or get diagnosed with. Why can't it be a demon?
Rule out any possibilities, but
because demons don't exist in any demonstrable way, shape, or form. They are, if they do exist, they are absolutely and utterly undetectable and are like no different from ghosts, goblins, or any other invisible entity that people believe in or have believed in the past. Yeah, there is so many more likely things that you should look at before you go into fucking demons. They're made up.
but look, this is
It's
just
basically like their explanation for what mental illness was when they didn't know how to explain what mental illness was, that and so he's going back to that. He's literally going back like 2,000 years worth of medical science that it's like, nah, fuck all that shit. Let's go back to before, that's when we really, that's when we really knew what was going on, before we even started doing bloodletting or trigonosis.
it's not checkers.
Jesus Christ.
This is a complex situation. And what I'm saying is, what this gentleman is telling you is if you called him, he would have done an exorcism with you over the phone.
Not necessarily. That's not fair.
Well, you
I'm
offer
sorry, that's pretty fucking funny. This guy's like, well, hold on now. Okay, man, you're just making it sound stupid. Okay. So, I'm like, yeah, because it is. It's like, you just pay me. Well, it's a tithe now. It's a tithe. Just give me 10% of everything you have for the whole year, and I will get out your demon over the phone for about 5 minutes. Like, I got a long list of people I got to get to, okay?
for
But I might not have done
$295.
that.
Pardon
So
me?
You're putting a template on this that's avoiding the spiritual reality of what we have going on.
I'm just reading your
It's-
website.
Well, but wait a minute. It's okay.
Of course, Dr. Bob Larson's going to look like the crazy one
Bob
here
Larson.
because, he's
That's what it was, Spooky. Yeah, it was Bob Larson. I'm sorry. What the fuck did I say? Anyway, I was like, where did that name come from?
talking about deliverance, and all the audience is like, oh, demons aren't real.
It's okay to just take the deist,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know. Because they're not.
Sam, lay it out there and avoid the spiritual world. It's the spiritual world that we're dealing in. It intersects with the psychological world.
Yes. Ephesians chapter 6, our battle's not against flesh and blood. There's an unseen realm. Colossians 1:16, 2 Corinthians 4:18.
Oh, my God.
Focus on the unseen, not the seen, for what is
Oh, wow. Poor guy. Man, look. Yeah, the Bible also says that a donkey talked, man, and says that it's cool to beat your slave, and it's given to you by the moral God, the ultimate moral God says you can beat your slave. You might not want to fucking give a fuck what that stupid thing says.
unseen is eternal. What is seen is only temporary. And I might have flipped that around there. Colossians 1:16, God creates the invisible and the visible realm. The invisible is more real than the visible realm. Ephesians,
It's more
6 says our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against spirits, persons without body.
Isn't real and absolute not subject to gradation? Like it's like more true. Like it's either true or not true. Again, how do you have more true? I don't know, man.
These personalities we're fighting
from time to time. But you cannot take that template and put it on something that has a reality.
Well, sir,
that's
I'm going to
beyond-
tell you, I believe I am dealing with the spiritual world. I'm not sure what you're dealing with.
No, you're not, Dr. Phil. Don't lie. That's cap right there. You're not dealing with the spiritual because you're telling her get diagnosed and get medication. That's the answer. So you're not dealing with the spiritual. You're dealing with the natural.
I'm sure what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't know. He's going to have to explain what he means by that. But I mean, because isn't Dr. Phil a Christian as well? I thought he was. I don't know. I could be wrong. But
no one knows what they're clapping at either.
And you have not
there's a sign that says to clap.
been there to see what I'm doing.
But I do know this, you're in a trap now. You do know that you've been damaged.
Correct.
You do know that you've been hurt.
100%.
And you do know that there is help available for them.
Okay, so that's what we probably thought he would say about demons. This is what the world would say is just get diagnosed.
Okay, and this is exactly what we knew that he would say about what he would say about demons. So, the Christians are idiots that just say don't go to the psychiatrist and just get the demons out, maybe throw some bones in a bowl and wave your hands and dance with sticks around a fire. That's a different. I'm sorry. That's a different religion. Oh, my bad. All right. Well, thanks so much for watching. This was kind of a fun one. And yeah, we'll be back later. Oh, next week we're gonna be streaming my conversation with RN Raw live. So that'll be next Saturday at 3:00 Eastern time. So definitely check that out. And stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. Thanks for watching.